a professional who is an agribusiness expert, Dr. Ajitsefinni Ayodeji. Thank you, Doctor, for coming on the program this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Doctor, you've heard the responses from most Nigerians in support of, the initiative by the First Lady, that is Senator Oluremi Tinubu, where she, has spoken regarding, the current food crisis Nigeria is facing, and saying that it is important that every home should at least have, some sort of garden to fend for their own immediate needs before we start talking about fending for people, outside of their homes. But let us hear from you. What are your thoughts on the concept of home gardening, and how important is home gardening in addressing, issues and concerns around food crisis that Nigeria obviously is facing?
Thank you very much. Regarding to the First Lady's initiative, it's a sign of good leadership. And that means charity begins at home. You want other people to do something. Have you started it from your own part? It's a good initiative, and I pray for sustainability of such in Nigeria as a whole. And use this opportunity to encourage other state governors' wives to imbibe into that. Coming back to home gardening, in the real sense, that is the beginning of food insecurity. In 1975, I stated in one of the comments, Operation Feed the Nation. Then, each house has, no matter how small, a garden for pepper or for tomato. I could remember during that period, whenever we watch pepper, the remittance of the water, our parents will ask us, go and pour it at the back. And what do we get from there? Whenever we want to cook, it's either we get our direct habanero or tomato. But the way as Nigeria is growing, exposure is coming up, and what the European ideology is coming into our being, we abandon it, and most of us condemn all our soil, all our backyard became what we call interlock. And where there is interlock, they find it difficult to have their garden. To that, there is a solution to it. Because you know how many times you cook in a day, in a week. You know the quantity of pepper you have to buy in the market on weekly basis. Why can't we imbibe into that by using smart farming? It's not compulsory for you to have soil in your house before you start this smart farming. Sack farming, tire farming, your flower pots. Let's convert our flower pots to what? Food pots. Whereby we decorate our house, build our environment with green vegetables, and it become an horticultural environment where you'll be generating food for your home and for the environment where you belong to. It's a good ideology, which I personally appreciate. I only pray for the sustainability of that ideology among our women, because it is the women that cook in the house. They know the quantity of vegetable they need. Therefore, they should imbibe and encourage their children to comment on that. Thank you.
But I am curious, Doctor. Of course, the First Lady did say it was important that, women started gardens, like you rightly mentioned, home gardens at their backyards and around the vicinity of their homes. But is it enough that women, are women the only, do I say, farmers, or should this be directed at just women? But where do men come in when it comes to home gardening? Is there no room for encouragement and involvement of men in this project?
Thank you very much. In the real sense of it, vegetable farming is for women, because the stress is not too ethic when compared to other farming systems. That's why in Nigeria today, you will see more women doing vegetable farming in the open field. The role of a man in this vegetable farming is to provide with all the necessary equipment and gadgets. Provide for water, because some of us have our borehole. I used to say this, you have borehole in your house, why cannot convert it to be a revenue generating center? It's the responsibility of the man to provide with, if it is the pot, if it is the soil, and the working tools, and buy good seed for the woman. Encourage the woman. Partake in the management of it. Don't make it to be the job of a woman to go and do the daily routine. One good thing for both man and woman about gardening is a source of exercise every morning. If you are to carry your water can sprayer, working within your compound for almost 45 minutes, it gives good earth. You don't need to go for any special massaging exercise. But moving around, carrying this, carrying that, if you do it for 2-3 weeks, you start making the fruit. And it's a joyful thing to buy ordinary seed, especially for women. Buy ordinary seed, put it in the soil. Start monitoring the growth. That's to show you what God Almighty is doing in the life of every one of us. I encourage men to support our women in whatever way, especially in the capital expenditure. That is, in the procurement of all it needs to make it work. Our women are ready to do it because they are the people providing the food we eat. They are the people that know how expensive some of these things are, and they know the solution.
Well said, Dr. Ayodeji Ajitsefinni, who is an agribusiness expert. But there is still so much more to come in the conversation around the efforts of government recently to, bridge the gap that Nigeria currently has in the area of food crisis. So do stay. We'll be back after the break. And you're still watching Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. And just before the break, we started a conversation on the, initiative by the First Lady, that is Senator Oluremi Tinubu, where she came out to say that women must be seen at the forefront of food security campaign in the country, encouraging most Nigerian households to have, a sort of garden, around the vicinity of their homes, which she said that in the long run will, have positive impact in addressing the issues around food crisis. And I still have my guest with me here. He is an agribusiness expert, Dr. Ajitsefinni Ayodeji. Thank you again, Doctor, for coming on the program today.
My pleasure.
Okay, Doctor, when we started the conversation, you hampered on one thing repeatedly, and that is the sustainability of, this home gardening initiative.
Yeah.
Are there long-term sustainability measures? Because with what she has said, it's a competition, and she's saying that at the end of this competition, the winner will, will be given, I believe she said, 25 million naira. Yeah. But how can we ensure that this is not just a temporal initiative that Nigerians rush into just for the benefit of winning the prize money, but something that, is a long-term solution and a long-term practice across homes in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Thank God we have Ministry of Women Affairs. You can see where I'm coming from. This is now the responsibility for them to increase the advocacy for women to have garden. And it should not be at the federal level. It should be at the state and local government level. Let's see how we can collaborate with women-owned associations to encourage them, irrespective of your business. Nigeria economy today, single stream of income cannot sustain it again. And for the women, I believe having your garden will lessen the burden of your domestic expenditure. And for the sustainability, it should be a thing that let's encourage in state level. At the state level, there should be some kind of incentive for women that are into this. By so doing, you will see more women even trying to have their own clusters, and they will be so proud of having it. If there is regular competition, I want to see the best woman that produce X type of product. And there should be a festive thing like trade fair, women garden trade fair, to become an annual event. You will see that more in the local level, state level, you will see more women going into it. And this will encourage and increase our food availability of vegetables in the society. So that it will not be only because of today, the First Lady wants to give award. That's why so many women will be doing it. No. The award will come, but let's continue doing it by having the incentive and encouragement from the state and local government level for our women. And what type of encouragement? Provide good seed for them at a subsidized rate. And even, let's start patronizing them. Let's have vegetable markets, women vegetable markets. Already we know in general market, who are the sellers of vegetables? Women. When you have access, you can have a shop, veg market. at a very reduced price. When we have when the supply is greater than the demand, what do you think will happen? The price will crash. And those are the areas we need more encouragement, we need more advocacy, we need the intervention of both the state and local government to buy into this view.
Okay, Doctor, if peradventure there's someone watching and wondering, I think this is a good, initiative, I want to begin, where do they start from? What are the basic essentials that they need to start their home gardens?
To everything, there's one phrase in the Holy Book, especially for we Muslims: know me before you worship me. If you don't know me, how will you worship me? Training is very, very, very necessary. Vegetable farming is a good prospect. It's a good, easy, I can just say it's an relevant project with relevant income. In agribusiness circle, the only unit, the only sector in agribusiness that can give quick return on investment is vegetable. Depends on which type of vegetable you want to go into. And I always say there are opportunities and challenges. We are facing challenges of food security, and vegetable is there now. The First Lady is encouraging it. What you need to do is go for online training. Go for a training on how do I make livelihood. How do I sustain vegetable farming in my house? It may be virtual, it may be physical, anyone. This is the time we need to encourage ourselves. And parents need to encourage their children. Training on vegetable farming is number one thing.
But are there some expected challenges, especially for first-time gardeners, that are most likely to, or have a high percentage of occurring at the start of a garden?
Well, at the start of gardening, you need a mentor, you need a trainer. Somebody can come if you are interested. Okay, I want to have a garden. Can you help me to set it up? In the process, why the consultant or whoever is handling that project for such a person, the person should learn how to ask questions. Why are you doing this? And such a consultant should make sure the owner of the garden participates. Not that the owner will sit in the sitting room while the consultant will be doing the garden. No, starting from soil preparation to planting stage to wetting stage. How do you provide water? When do you normally need to wet? Do you wet during the sunny period or in the morning or in the evening? All these are the technical things that needs to know. And that's why I said it's always good. I want to go into backyard gardening for my own vegetable. How can I start? It's not that you can just say I want to do it with my idea for a starter.
Well said, Doctor. Welcome developments there, by the First Lady, that is Senator Oluremi Tinubu, where she has called on most Nigerians to engage in home gardening. But away from that now, still in Nigeria's efforts towards addressing concerns around food crisis, the federal government has approved a 150-day duty-free window to allow the importation of maize, brown rice and wheat as part of measures to combat a rising food inflation in the country. I believe we have details of that policy, which was introduced yesterday by the Federal Minister of Agriculture. And if we have that, let us have it on the screen. And it is a one-day duty-free import window for food commodities. And this is expected to, ameliorate food inflation in the country. And the government has said that it also will include the suspension of duties, tariffs, and taxes for the importation of certain food commodities through land and sea borders. And these commodities include maize, husked brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas. And also, under this arrangement, imported food commodities will be subjected to a recommended retail price. Quite a number of efforts and discussion and discourse around, bridging or addressing issues around food crisis, Doctor. And like I stated, the introduction of a 150-day duty-free window for the importation of certain products, maize, brown rice, and the likes. Let's hear from you now. What are your thoughts, especially from the perspective of someone who is well involved in the agri space, as a Nigerian in Nigeria, then having to, hear news around importation, that is bringing in produce from outside of the country? What are your thoughts on this development?
Well, to everything, there is double coin. For federal government to have that policy in place, they have their own justification for that. And the truth of it, from my own perspective, is one, that same policy can be introduced to farm input importation. If federal government is giving 150 days duty-free to commodities of such, I will appeal to the same federal government to look into duty-free for farm input, such as the seeds, the mechanization equipment. If we have that, Nigeria is blessed to produce even more than whatever they want to import. But do we have what it requires to do that? That is phase one. For the perspective, let me look at it from the perspective of the government. This is a short relief that will affect positively and negatively. Positively, that is not the people that will import it. Yes, it will come in. The maize will come in and it will assist the industries that need maize as their source of input. Paddy, the rice that will be coming is a brown rice. I don't think it's paddy. Maybe it's already parboiled and finished rice. I don't know. If it is paddy, good. But looking at it from the perspective of dollar, what is the dollar rate? And that may increase because Nigeria today, everything is being dollarized. Our local producers will be using the rate of dollar and what they are selling the imported goods to determine their own products. And looking at it from the other side of my own ideology, this will bring down, this will affect our local producers.
That's what I was going to,
it will affect our local producers,
especially how being able to balance the importation with local production.
Yes, the local produce for it now, we don't know how many tons that will come into Nigeria. Where we are appealing to the government to look into is how do we increase our own productivity? We don't want Nigeria to be a consuming country. Nigeria should be a producing country. For them, the company that will be bringing in this product to Nigeria, how is that country doing it to get excess that they are able to export to us? We should look into that. How can we do it to get our own excess too? It's because those people take agriculture, agribusiness as a priority, provide for the needs of the farmer 100%. And when I mean 100%, cleared land is there. Nigeria is blessed with fertile cleared land. Why can't we look at it and make it a policy? How many senatorial districts do we have in Nigeria? We have almost 109 senatorial districts. Is it not possible to have minimum of 1,000 hectares per each senatorial district in Nigeria with different types of commodities in each senatorial district? Whereby this is commercial center for your senatorial district. We will provide you with the 1,000 cleared land. We provide you with irrigation facilities. We will provide you with all the mechanized facilities and security. This will aid our own production.
Well, Doctor,
I'm not saying what the policy is wrong, but the negative part of it is it will affect the local producers. The concentration will be more now on imported produce than our own, where we have the skilled people, we have the land, but we need the guarantee of security.
Doctor, you made a very valid point there, talking about importing and looking at what these countries that we are importing from are doing differently to ensure that they are able to feed their nation first and even import in excess. So let us now bring it home to Nigeria. What areas of concern should we be focusing on and fixing to ensure that, concerns around insecurity, concerns around environmental factors like climate change and the likes, are addressed so that we don't have this, repeating itself in the next seasons to come?
You're very correct. The truth of the matter is, when it comes to agricultural issue, we only focus attention on it during the rainy season. Immediately the rainy season yourself, how many states in Nigeria participate in dry season? We never look at it from that perspective. We will say Agri should be taken as important as they are taking oil and gas in Nigeria. Let's make things easier for private investors that wants to come into the infrastructural development of agri sector. For 150 days duty-free for importation of rice, maize, wheat, cowpea, well, it's good, but can we look into another 150 days duty-free for farm mechanization gadgets, so that where to do people in Nigeria can bring this product and this equipment to Nigeria and support us in the land preparation. The major problem in agriculture in Nigeria today is one, lack of good seeds. We don't have enough gadgets, equipment, land preparation, land clearing. Nigeria is blessed with so many lands that is good for our food, but they are not well cleared. They are not even cleared. We have limited number of tractors. We can count how many states that have enough. It's not even enough. We should look in Nigeria to a level whereby each farmer will have access to credit to buy a tractor. If a farmer cannot buy, let a cluster of farmers have their own tractor. Let in a local government we can access bulldozer to do what? To clear land. With the autonomy given to the local government now, the priority they should give to themselves is, how do I make my local government to be producer of one particular food? As a priority. Because we cannot put all the burdens on federal government. Let's be sincere with ourselves. The food production starts from local level before it comes to the up. Therefore, we should look at how do we solve the insecurity aspect of it. How do we get organic fertilizers for our farmers at a discounted, subsidized rate? A farmer that needs 5 bags is using 1-2 bags. What result do you expect? And capacity building. Regular capacity building is what we need also. And encourage our farmers on the usage of alternative energy.
Renewable energy.
Yes. That's why the issue of integrated farming needs to start coming into Nigeria. Let's go back to the issue of backyard vegetable. That will lead to integrated. Because if you have your own backyard vegetable, you will end up to have your chicken. You end up to have your what? Goats. Their waste will be an input to the soil for your garden. And that will increase our food security. But for this, the federal government has done, they have the reasons for it, the economy, the experts that make the recommendation have their own justification. But they should please look inward the impact it will have on the local farmers, because most of these products, how are we sure we get to the ground or to the local consumers?
Indeed, indeed. We understand that the government plans to import 250,000 metric tons of wheat and maize. But you have made a very valid point, around the distribution and ensuring that it is distributed effectively, ensuring that it reaches the people or the small-scale processors that it is expected to reach. So let's talk to issues around, the short-term and long-term challenges that, this policy would have. I'd like for you to start off with the expected short-term challenges. What will they be from your own point of view?
Well, looking at it, it's not the federal government that wants to import. The federal government gave it to the open market for whoever has the opportunity, that has the capacity to do the importation. Will it not affect our dollar rate? And if anything happens now to increase the rate at which we are getting dollar, it will affect the local market. I used to say something, not that we don't have the food, avoidability of the food. We have rice, not that there is no rice in Nigeria, not that there is no beans, but it can do, the purchasing power is not there to get it. That means that the inflation rate has to be looked into. If government can look into how do we bring down our inflation rate, we know it's a global crisis, truth be told. But how can we in Nigeria manage our own? And secondly, the importation. For how long will it last? Nigeria of over 200 million population, bringing in 250 metric tons. Let's divide it, 1 kg per person. That is
250,000 metric tons.
250,000 divided by 200 million Nigerian population.
Well, don't forget, it's just for 150
50 days. That's within 5 months, if I'm right. In each house, out is our consumption rate. I don't want Nigerians to rely on so much that, yes, government is bringing this. It will not last us, but it will only bring relief, interim relief, for us to stabilize. Because whatever our farmers are planting now is what we will consume during the dry season. What we are consuming now is what they planted during the dry season. And that's why we have shortage. For us to have this balance, let's increase the number of dry season farming. Let's encourage all year round farming in Nigeria. Let's have more dam. If we cannot get dam, let's have industrial borehole sponsored by governments for cluster farmers. Let's encourage all year round farming. Because if, for example, we have a total population of 100 million and we have 10% that produce that feed, there will be crisis. And now we are in rainy season. How many people are on farm? By the time the output starts coming out in December, January, the population might have increased. And so there will still be shortage of such. To sort it out, let's learn what are they doing in that other country differently that we have not done. Well said. So that we can implement and use. For this intervention cannot continue and sustain us.
These are not sustainable measures.
It's not something that can sustain our food crisis in Nigeria, rather than for us to be a producing country, not a consuming country.
Well said, Dr. Ajitsefinni Ayodeji, who has spoken to ways that Nigeria can increase its food production and sustain these measures, saying that importation is only going to be a temporal relief. But what then should we do, for long-term solution provision? And that's where we come back to conversations around everyone having a home garden, fending to your family or fending for your family by planting a garden in the vicinity of your homes. Thank you very much, Dr. Ajitsefinni Ayodeji, who is an agribusiness expert. Thank you for the insight you've shared with us today on the program.
Thank you.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains today's edition of the program. Join the conversation on social media and let us hear from you. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching and bye for now.